The whole internet thought they were saving me, but they were genuinely ruining my life. To like call CPS on my mom, like do all this like crazy stuff, like call the cops, giving out our address and phone numbers.
What is this? What are you doing? My butt looks so full. And you're like, my butt is popping.
This isn't something a kid would come up with.
Obviously, she is 14, just turned 14 on March 7th.
Literally half of my comments are talking about how are you a minor with an OnlyFans, all this stuff.
Danny's age was just a big lie that she had been telling for years.
In front of young boys.
Danny, show them your interior body so they can be quiet. Show them your interior body so they can be quiet.
I had mentioned that I had an abortion. Yes, I did have an abortion.
You said to your daughter that you're a whore, you're a slut, go get effed again, go have another A word.
I've heard her,
Who said
yeah.
that, bro?
In case you don't get it, girl, no one wants to hang out with your mama. You bring her to parties in LA, girl, nobody wants to hang out with your mom. We not her friend. Nobody wants to be friends with your mom who has no job or no life, so she hangs out with you. And
I turned 18 and got back with
Oh! Oh! What? Why would you say that?
Hey Cyberbrats, thank you for being here. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps this up and coming channel. From the very beginning, Danielle Cohn's internet presence has been nothing short of a questionable circus. She was basically doing anything online for an attention and relevancy. From her mother forcing her to lie about her age, fake pregnancies, countless older boyfriends, along with inappropriate pictures and videos online. You're probably wondering who is the pinhead to make money off of their underage daughter's body online. Well, no other than Jennifer, and Jennifer is a nightmare of a mother that no child ever deserves. This monstrosity of a mother is often the one behind the camera. Her mother has about 30 child CPS cases and is willing to exploit her daughter as much as possible in order to never go back to working 2 jobs. Some even say she wanted her daughter to have a career similar to Kim Kardashian after Danielle turned 18.
Danielle here, back with another video with my mother.
God, Danny. What are you thinking? You can't be doing stuff like that.
It's on my private photos.
And this video is so weird. It's a YouTube video on Danielle's channel where her mom goes through her phone and goes through her photo gallery, where her mom sees that Danielle has a bunch of photos and videos in bikinis. Her mom pretends to get upset about this, and Danielle says, well, it doesn't matter because some of these are on my private photos, while showing it publicly on her YouTube channel for millions of people to see, and promoting a private Snapchat, which is something that is usually used for adult content creators to make certain content that people will buy. Jennifer is weird to explain because she's an overbearing mother who's extremely needy, yet neglectful and negligent all at the same time. She's also plain out abusive to her daughter, even going as far as to bring up her daughter's abortion during arguments when she's upset. So I'm going to be calling Danielle by her nickname Danny because I need to make this easier for myself. I just did a video about Danielle Bergoli, aka Bad Baby, the Catch Me Outside girl. You guys should go check out that video. They have very similar stories of exploitations and horrible moms. I bet it comes to nobody's surprise that Miss Danny was born in Florida, where she competed in pageants at a very young age. She ended up winning Miss Florida preteen in 2015, and that's when she began her modeling career. Danny's first appearance on social media started on Musical.ly, where at the age of 9 years old, she claims that her dad kicked her and her family out. So she started posting on Musical.ly to clear her mind. Danielle was growing up fast, wearing makeup, dressing with minimal clothes on, dancing and shaking, and whatever this is. Her mom didn't even know she had an account until brand sponsors started reaching out, and once Danielle realized she could make this a job, she told her mother. Danny's mother, Jennifer, was working 2 jobs, worked as a teacher, and struggled to make ends meet for her 2 children. When Jennifer split with Danielle's dad, Danny's stepbrother, Chad Combs, also stayed with Jennifer and Danny. After the split of their parents, Dustin Combs, Danny's father, now lives in Orlando, Florida with his wife Heather Combs and their daughter. And like most influencers, Danielle explored a music career where she posted a video called Marilyn Monroe. And honestly, I actually like it. It's catchy, it's a bop. You know, I've heard worse. Chris Weekly even featured in this music video. And this music video ended up
Marilyn Monroe, yeah, I'm a diva, Miss Marilyn Monroe, Marilyn Monroe, Marilyn Monroe, yeah, I'm a diva, Miss Marilyn Monroe.
But after the music video became a banger on YouTube, that's when Jennifer decided to move her and the squad to Shark Pits of Hollywood and become Danielle's manager full time and quit her jobs. And if you've read Jeanette McCurdy's book called I'm Glad My Mother's Dead, you would see how this mother-daughter manager dynamic can become toxic really fast. In Danielle's first year in LA, she managed to get partnerships with Target, Live Nation, Samsung, along with other brands. As far as Danielle continuing her education is where it becomes murky because she transitions into online school to manage traveling so much. And whether or not Jennifer was taking Danny's education seriously is questionable. So what attracted Danielle to such a large audience in the first place? Well, first it was her music. And what really started getting her a lot of attention were these clickbait titles on YouTube where a lot of them revolved around inappropriate videos and titles. It was just some of the most inappropriate things. My friends watched me kiss my boyfriend, our first time, our relationship status, why we broke up, my daily morning routine with her body photoshopped in it, cheating on my boyfriend prank, random teenage boys rate my outfits, my boyfriend and friends rate my swimsuits, a thumbnail of her kissing one of her friends. It was crazy. Her grandpa rating her, her grandpa goes through her phone. Her dad goes through her phone, but really it was her uncle. It just all these very, very weird things. A lot of her content surrounded around having a boyfriend and selling that as entertainment, which meant she always needed a boyfriend. And it was like she was eager to post these breakup videos because it would get a lot of attention. And it was like she always had a new boyfriend. And sources say her mom was encouraging a lot of these relationships, a lot of these videos, a lot of this content. And mind you, a lot of these boyfriends were older, much older than Danny. And do not even get me started on the photos being posted on Instagram that were probably taken with her mom in like hotel rooms. Danielle would literally be like lying on the bed in a swimsuit, taking photos that you would see in an adult magazine. And her mom was getting paid $10,000 for every bikini pic that was posted of her daughter. Jennifer even goes on to explain how she was making more money posting a picture of Danielle in a swimsuit than she was working 2 weeks at both her jobs. This was blood money, and Jennifer was thirsty to keep her pockets full and was willing to do and say anything to make sure that the money continued to roll in, even at the expense of her own daughter. One of the long list of ex-boyfriends Danny has had includes an 18-year-old boy named Mikey. Danny posts a photo on Instagram of Mikey kissing her stomach to later reveal on her YouTube channel that they were pregnant. People were very suspicious of this because if you don't know, a lot of rage bait influencers, there's a pattern to their behavior, which includes fake marriages, fake pregnancies. They'll do anything for attention. It does not matter. It's very common for influencers to fake and lie about huge milestones in their life in order to get engagement from viewers. So this also included Danny posting a 4-part series on her YouTube channel of her and Mikey getting married in Vegas. So during all these inappropriate YouTube videos that Danny was making, the inappropriate photos she was posting on Instagram, Jennifer was claiming that Danielle was 16 this entire time, which still wasn't appropriate for this behavior and content being posted of her online. To find out, Jennifer was lying about her daughter's age, as if her posting these things and being 16 made it any better, which it didn't. The whole time, though, it was a lot worse and sinister than we thought, because Danielle's age, she was actually 13 years old. Now, Mikey claims that after a year into them dating, he found out that Danielle's age was actually 12, just turned 13.
At the beginning of the relationship, did you know how old she was?
No, I found out like a year into it when I had my episode.
And you found out she was how old at the time? 14?
At the time, she was 12, I believe. I think at the time, she just turned 13, actually. But that first year we were dating, the whole time she was
None of us.
12 years old, and I had no idea.
Their timeline gets confusing, but Mikey and Danielle dated for 3 years on and off. And as we can see from the interview, it sounds like Mikey was 16, 17 years old dating a 12-year-old, which is insane. When he turned 18, he was essentially dating a 13-year-old. I understand he was lied to at first, but it's like, how you as a 17, 16-year-old can't tell that this person has the mind of a child, a very, very young child, like 12 years old. I feel like it had to been obvious. There had to be red flags. And then to go back to her after finding out her real age is just so... It's definitely hard to wrap your mind around it. And I definitely feel like he should have gotten the ick immediately, finding out that he was having sexual relations with a 12, 13-year-old. He should have been disgusted. But no. And he has the audacity to be going on podcasts, openly admitting it, trying to expose Danielle when he literally looks just as bad. He doesn't look good. You know what? After doing some thinking about all this, I feel like I was giving him the benefit of the doubt, but honestly, I do feel like there's no way he did not know she was 12 years old. Like, her mentality, her maturity, how she looked, like, should have said it all. Like, how did you not know? How did you not know you were dating a 12-year-old girl? Like, are you that stupid? Or did you just not care?
Mikey, right? That's Mikey, yeah? Dude, that is so obviously a 12-year-old. Like, you don't need any analysis into this, man.
Not a lot of people get over on me, but I didn't see things that maybe I should have.
What, you a 40-year-old couldn't work out if somebody was 12?
Because I didn't realize that there were extensions in.
Bro, shut up. Come on. Extensions don't make you magically age.
And the hair and the eyelashes and the nails, the tan, the push-up bras. So
this is like actual victim blaming.
Also, Mikey is also making money off of this relationship that he's promoting on social media with Danny, only for him to come out and say that his mom was stealing money from him. Was his mom, a 4-year-old woman, really manipulated by a 12-year-old? Or was she just as greedy and negligent as Jennifer? On top of that, on top of all this, the information about her real age was public and being talked about in the mainstream media. Like, there were so many YouTube videos about it. So many people were talking about it. This information was not hidden. People who didn't even know Danny were hearing about this. Things started to get so messy. This ended up into so much drama where Mikey was even trying to get emancipated from his mother. Mikey even says that Jennifer encouraged him to leave his family and come move in with her and Danny.
And you wanted me to come and live with your 13-year-old daughter away from my family. You're crazy.
I ran away from my parents and I found out her age.
And the police. Wait.
I wasn't with her for a year. And then I turned 18 and got back with
Oh! Oh, what? Why would you say that? Why would you admit to that? Oh my God.
It was actually right before his 18th birthday.
Yeah, I was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks before I turned 18.
He actually flew to another state under a different name.
The podcaster ends up asking Mikey if he had a moral dilemma, being an 18-year-old man and sleeping with a child and kidnapping her to a different state. His response is he doesn't know what moral dilemma means and he has to ask the podcaster to elaborate on that. Mikey's response to whether he felt like what he was doing was wrong or not is that even though everyone was telling him that this is wrong, since he wasn't being prosecuted by the law, even though he fled the state, that he didn't care. That's basically what he said.
When you have all these people telling you, oh, you're going to go to jail, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and it not happening was making me be like, oh, what I'm doing is okay. I thought.
This is some of the nonsense and drama that ensued during their off-again, on-again relationship, including Mikey getting on live and crying about Danny. But it's like, how deeply in love were you with a 12-year-old child? Like, can we be for real for a second?
If you're watching this, I love you so much, and I always will. I wish nothing in this world but happiness.
He goes from crying about her on Instagram Live to shading her on Instagram.
Taking girlfriend applications must have fun personality. Love my family. Truthful. Birth certificate.
What you need to be taking is a job application, sir. Then Danielle posts a YouTube video, Kiss or Diss, Boys of the Summer. She says that she would diss Mikey and his friend.
Name out of your mouth. Don't play Kiss or Diss and say that you're going to diss me or Diego when you already kissed us. First time since I cried on live that I spoke about Danny. I'm over it. It's so annoying. Like, she's a child. Move on.
I'm sorry, but it's so funny when Mikey talks. Why does he keep opening his eyes so wide? Like, I hope he's sober. And the way he outs him and his friend for kissing Danielle and then saying that she's a child and people need to move on just goes to show how incredibly tone deaf Mikey is. It was just a petty feud back and forth. And on this same live, they call Danielle for some reason and they're arguing and bickering, and Danielle tells Diego, which is Mikey's friend, to go back to his country. So yeah, that did not make Danielle look good at all.
No, put it on speaker. Listen to what she has to say.
Hello?
You want to listen to what she has to say?
Hello? Yeah, say hi to my live.
Say what's up to the live, bitch.
What did you just call me?
You heard me?
Okay, Diego, shut the fuck up, okay?
Oh, yeah, like, I'm gonna take...
Nobody
yeah, I'm gonna listen to a 13-year-old. Nah, shut up.
Why don't you go back to your country?
What? What did she say?
I don't know, but hey, you guys heard it. That is the real Danielle.
You guys heard it. That's
The more I watch of Mikey, the less I believe that he's sober. I'm just saying. Either that or something is just mentally not right here. It could be both, though. I mean, honestly, I feel like they were provoking her, trying to aggravate her and trigger her into saying something she would regret. And I think they were going out of their way to make her look as bad as possible. They were disrespecting her, calling her out her name, trying to humiliate her, trying to spread her business. And these are coming from two dudes who have kissed her, had intimate contact with her. Mikey has been sleeping with her since she was 12. And this is how they're acting and treating who they have even admitted is a 13-year-old child. She ended up making up with Diego and Mikey. So you're probably wondering, how did people start finding out about Danielle's age? Now, this lie between Danielle and her mother was a secret, but not really, because people knew Danny in real life. There were a number of things that actually proved Danny's real age. None of this was a conspiracy. There was proof, including videos of Danielle when she was young doing pageants where she said her real age.
This was made in 2013.
Hello everyone, my name is Danielle Cohn and I am 7 years old from Orlando, Florida.
Even a picture of Jennifer in the hospital with the date she gave birth to Danielle on her hospital wristband. Danny's yearbook photos were being circulated online. And Danny would be on live stream and slip up all the time.
Like, guys, she is 12 years. 8. Guys, she is 14. I'm reading all these comments.
A viewer asked her what grade she was in, and she had to look to her mother to confirm. But the nail on the head was Danny's biological father coming forward, revealing Danny's actual birth certificate, along with all the concerns he's been having about his daughter being exploited online, and the people who are helping her profit from her exploitation.
Obviously, she is 14, just turned 14 on March 7th. She was born on 2006. Here is the proof. Multiple people have shown this birth certificate. My mom had multiple members of her family calling her constantly, screaming at her, leaving crazy messages over the fact that she told the truth.
And yes, that was all the information and proof that was readily available online. And Mikey and his mother have the audacity to sit up on podcasts and act like a 12-year-old came up with a master plan to dupe them. And first of all, it's really not Danielle's fault that her mother has conditioned her and forced her to lie about her age, and then make her the sole breadwinner of their family. For Mikey and his mom to take absolutely no responsibility whatsoever for a boy who was 5 years older than this little girl that he was sleeping with, to take no accountability and then blame it on her and her push-up bra and extensions is bonkers. While also financially profiting off of the relationship. And if things couldn't have gotten any worse, Danielle ends up, I guess you could say, rebounding with this boy named Ethan Fair, who at the time was 16 while Danielle was 14. This was a short relationship, and even in that short amount of time, Danielle ends up getting pregnant and having an abortion. And during this vulnerable and difficult time, Ethan practically ghosts her.
How did so many people find out about such a personal thing in a 14-year-old girl's life? And
Danny kind of used subliminal messaging, and if you really paid attention and used context clues, you could probably paint a picture of what was going on, such as the date Danny had tatted on her, and a TikTok of her crying with a questionable voiceover. The final confirmation about Danny's abortion was when a close family friend, a woman that goes by Virginia, was trying to play devil's advocate and mediate a confrontation between Danny and her mother. This private conversation was being recorded by Virginia the whole time that she ended up leaking on the internet. And during this leaked audio, Danny's abortion is the topic of conversation.
Musically blowing up on Musically. I met Danielle when she was 9 years old, and the reason being is because our children went to the same school together.
Virginia's been a close family friend for over 5 years with Danny's family. She was a trusted friend, and her whole excuse for leaking this private audio was because she was desperate for Danny's exploitation and abuse to stop. However, I think she could have gone about it better without putting Danny's personal business on blast and forcing her to talk about things publicly on the internet that she wasn't ready to talk about. She justifies these actions by saying that Danny was already leaving context clues about her abortion.
Don't say a word. No relationship between us, and I don't want to have a relationship with you like this anymore. I can't do it, and I cannot deal with you not sticking up for me in some sense. And you're cold-hearted to me all the time. Like, you only care about yourself and what's best for you, and you just don't think about how other people feel unless it's you or Mikey. And we can't get along at all, and I think we just need some time away from each other and not to make all these decisions, because I've allowed you to live with your boyfriend, I've allowed you to do all this shit for things like you just think it's okay to be that way, and it's not okay. I'm getting all kinds of shit on the internet right now about being a horrible mom and all stuff, and I'm starting to really think I am. Because it is true. I'm letting you do this at this age. I'm letting you do that. I allowed you to have an abortion. And this is all the shit that they're saying on there. I allowed so much that I shouldn't have allowed. And it's allowed you to be the person you become and just think it's okay to act the way you can towards me. We don't have a relationship.
Can I talk? Oh, and Jennifer saying that she allowed Danny to have an abortion is absurd, because we later find out that Danny was too afraid to tell her family. So she went completely by herself to the clinic and made the choice with her nurses on what was best for her. So for Jennifer to act like she allowed her daughter health care, shows how delusional Jennifer is. She wants to blame Danny for allowing Danny's boyfriend to constantly be at the house. Jennifer, you allowed it. It's not Danny's fault that you just let her date whoever. Jennifer is so manipulative. She's acting like she wants to send Danny off with her father when she's financially dependent on Danny, emotionally dependent on her, vicariously living through Danny. She wants to get mad at Danny for not constantly coming to her defense online when it doesn't matter how much she defends you, which she already does. We don't really believe her because she's your victim and she's going to say whatever to make you happy, and you've completely brainwashed this girl since she was 9 years old.
Your daughter went through something beyond terrible that you, as an adult, it doesn't matter. You're the one that possibly allowed it on the internet too, because you don't know how to fucking isolate also. I tell you a lot of things that shouldn't be on the internet with your daughter, and you're like, it got on there.
We didn't put it on there.
You innuendos put shit on there. You don't have to put it on there. There's subliminal messages and innuendos, and these little fucking critters that are behind screens are detectives. Why? They got nothing else going on, but let me search everything.
It was Ethan that started it.
Who gives a It's something that happened in your daughter's life. I don't give a about social media. You should care about what your daughter personally feels. Have you sat with your daughter and said, hey, Danny, how do you feel emotionally, what you've been through? Because no one has probably sat with her and said, hey, what are you going through?
One of the cruelest things that Jennifer does is bring up Danny's abortion. She weaponizes this to insult, humiliate, shame, and trigger Danny when Jennifer's feeling upset. She does this in front of Danny's friends, managers, boyfriends, and Jennifer justifies this behavior by saying that Danny says mean things to her too, as if she's not the parent, as if she's not the grown adult, as if Danny, a child, being annoyed with her mother and being childish, compares to throwing an abortion in her face.
You make disgusting comments about the abortion all the time.
You shouldn't. That's the worst thing.
You said to me, you were like, at least I didn't kill my child. You
Yeah,
literally
well,
said
because
that
you
to
say
me.
mean shit to me.
You say that in anger.
Okay,
I
but
say
that's
that
a
in-
different type
no,
of thing.
it's
You don't
not,
say something
because you do the same shit to me, and then I do it
me
back.
saying freaking childish insults is a difference
No,
than
it's
you
not.
literally
You say a
pushing
lot
on a
worse
topic
shit.
that you know that
You
I'm
say a
sensitive.
lot worse shit. Don't even go there with me. Don't even go there with me.
Mom.
You know it. Okay, Danny,
The
whatever.
abortion is probably like the hardest subject for me to talk about, and you always bring it up. Even Jackie has told me, she's like, I don't understand why your mom brings that up.
I don't really
Matt
care.
has
Jennifer is a very unintelligent woman. Jennifer and Danny have the most toxic, abusive relationship. There's already a power imbalance because Jennifer holds more power because she's the mother, yet says awful things to her daughter to harm her daughter's well-being while using her daughter's body to make money on the internet, allowing older boys to take advantage of her daughter, as well as creeps online. Then gaslights her daughter when her daughter's upset by her mother's actions and then tells her that she doesn't care. Imagine growing up with somebody like this. Danielle finds out about the leaked audio being publicized by her uncle who found it online, which then made Danny feel like she was forced to address what happened and her abortion in general on her YouTube channel, where she uploads a video called The Truth About My Abortion. Danny handles this embarrassing situation with so much maturity and insight, and oddly, it looks like someone is standing behind the camera recording the whole thing, which was kind of weird. However, she begins the video by openly confessing about being intimate and becoming pregnant and how she made the best decision for herself. She talks about going through this all by herself as well. She lets people know that it's okay to make mistakes. I think one of the saddest parts of the whole video was when she talks about calling Ethan, the one who did this to her, and he blows her off and doesn't care and leaves her to deal with the situation all by herself. The whole thing honestly got me emotional because I just feel like it's a universal experience for young girls to be pressured by their boyfriends, especially if their boyfriend is significantly older, to kind of coerce or even beg or really pressure sexual things that the girl might not be ready for or not necessarily understand the aftermath of such adult decisions. Sometimes even fully grown adults don't understand how these choices and decisions can go 0 to 100 really fast. So a lot of young girls are put in these situations with their boyfriend, especially the older boyfriends, to do explicit things that are more beneficial to the man than it is for the girl, who is going to be affected the most, which could result in pregnancy, along with girls facing a lot more stigma. So as Danielle explains, being terrified to tell her family. So there's this shame, discomfort all around a situation that a lot of times the girls didn't even want to be in the first place. And as Danielle explains, the boyfriend ends up leaving her in the middle of all of this turmoil, which just reflects how the male can wipe his hands clean, walk away from the situation, not need medical treatment, won't face stigma. And I do believe that this was Danny's experience or similar to her experience. I'm glad that Danny had what sounded like amazing nurses who were everything that she needed in that moment to help her make the necessary decision. And I'm so proud of Danny for knowing herself and doing what was best for her, no matter how difficult that decision was. And oh my gosh, every time I relive this part of the video, it literally makes me like teary-eyed. Like, it's just, I can't believe she went through all of that. Planned Parenthood and the nurses had such a profound effect on Danielle that she ended up donating money and 30% of her merchandise sales to Planned Parenthood. Danny and Jennifer end up doing an interview with Business Insider where Jennifer, quote, says, "I wish I could have protected my daughter and kept this from happening because no parent wants their child to have to go through something like this," end quote. And it's just so frustrating because for you to act like you're remorseful and empathetic towards Danny, yet this is something you use to throw in her face and trigger her on a consistent basis is just ridiculous. Like, she then goes on further in the interview to continue to lie about Danielle's age and make excuses about it. Danielle's video, "The Truth About My Abortion," obtained 5.3 million views. It's honestly weird to hear a underage girl have to explain her intimate life and abortion. It's extremely violating and invasive. The aftermath of a little girl's business being spread to 5.3 million people had quite the aftermath, including Danielle's address and phone number being leaked on the internet. People started calling the police, telling CPS, telling the police that Danielle was forced into abortion by her mom. The sexualization that Jennifer was putting her daughter through was obvious to everybody except Danny. She never came to terms with the fact that her mother was sexualizing her online for monetary gain. It never clicked in her head because it was normalized to her at a young age, and she was brainwashed into thinking it was okay, being too young to know better, that a young child should not have free will to do and post whatever they want, just because it supposedly makes them happy and you money at the same time. Jennifer has convinced herself and Danielle that she's just letting Danny do whatever makes her happy, as if a child should just be able to do whatever they want, whenever they want. A lot of viewers, including myself, believed that Danny was gonna grow up, reflect on her childhood, and realize how a lot of the things her mother was having her do were not okay. However, last year, when Danny was 17 years old, she uploaded a YouTube video. The video was called "The Trauma, The Truth of What I Went Through and the Real Relationship Between My Mother and I." I promise, before I clicked on this video, I really thought, oh, she's gonna at least acknowledge that a lot of these inappropriate relationships, photos, and videos were not okay. She's at least gonna recognize. And I definitely thought she was gonna have some criticism towards her mother, but I was honestly wrong.
I know what's going on, and this is kind of when I started getting older and I kind of saw through the whole like social media mom thing. Almost every single mom that, you know, was involved out there was doing the same shit, but almost 20 times worse. There was times where I would be at events and I would see kids getting hit at, and they're not doing. That was never the case for me. I was never getting like abused for it or anything, but the rumors came with the videos that were getting exposed. And
you're gonna see how even years later, at the age of 17, Danielle still believes that it wasn't her mom that was the problem, but the people online who were making things a big deal with quote-unquote rumors.
And I would say a total of 10 times I was always being questioned. And they never found anything wrong, but they couldn't just leave me alone. And none of the things that they were asking me were happening. It started kind of messing with me because I was like, am I doing something wrong? Like, why are these police officers coming to my house? And not only did they question me, they had to question my whole family.
Danny explains how a lot of the questions that the CPS and FBI were asking her were not things that were happening to her. However, child exploitation on social media is so unregulated. We can see that by how these social media platforms are allowing these things to happen. And it's widely known that they don't do anything about predators and children online. They are completely negligent about it, even though they know it's happening. So CPS don't really know how to handle these modern day child exploitation on social media. Also, CPS doesn't take verbal and emotional abuse as serious as physical or essay abuse.
And I open the door, and it's the FBI saying that they got a call that someone was being held hostage in the house. That was never the case, and it was every other week.
Danny talks about how after the abortion, after dealing with the leaked audio, going through postpartum, that someone made a call to the FBI and told them that Danielle got taken advantage of and forced to get an abortion by her mother. The FBI and CPS came banging on her door, asking her invasive questions about her abortion. They basically didn't believe her and brutally questioned and interrogated her, and I honestly do believe it. I believe that the police would be completely insensitive in a situation like this.
Right after my abortion, I had to get questioned by an FBI worker and CPS. And I'm sitting here getting interrogated, basically telling me that I'm a liar because that's what they have to do to get it out of you.
I found a few comments that were interesting, like this one that says, but her mom shouldn't let her dress and show off her body at such a young age or influence her to do so, and also shouldn't have allowed dating older guys/boys. And I also remember Danny always talking about her mom doing this and that to her all the time, and now you're depending on her. So are you lying to cover up for her, or are you just making up how bad she treated you?
Danny responded by saying, "Don't know where you got that she made me do any of that. I have said a bunch of times I choose and did what I wanted. I have never said anything about my mom, and that was said by other people that made that up."
Another comment reads, I remember when you lived with your mom when you were 10 and she wouldn't let you get off live to eat, or when she used to make you show your body to prove what you looked like at 12. You really are such a great young girl, and I can't wait for you to actually grow and see what was going on. Whether it was you or your mom, I really hate that you've had to lie since the beginning about your age. Things could have been different. I do pray happiness and wealth for you. Everyone deserves that, girl.
Danielle responds, "I am beyond happy with my life, and those things are not the way you guys see them."
At the end of the day, this is Danny's truth. In her head, in her mind, this is her reality. And I think the comments and the video shows just how long it truly takes to heal, how long it takes to process things. You know, the brain is not going to accept anything it's not ready to process or heal. Your brain will literally block out the trauma and things that your mind feels like you cannot handle. If your brain thinks that they cannot survive processing something, your brain just will not do it. If she's not ready to face those demons, there's nothing anyone can do or say to change that. And it's honestly a great example of the long-term effects of abuse, grooming, indoctrinating, brainwashing, and how difficult it is to unwire your brain from those harmful things. And if you thought we were done hearing all the egregious details to Danny's abortion, you're sadly mistaken. Here's something Mikey had to say on another podcast about Danielle and her mother.
What happened, like, during, like, the abortion, like, when she was, like, going through it? Did she ever talk to you about that? And
About
what her mom was doing and stuff?
That her mom was telling her she was going to hell
and all this stuff, right?
Not only that, but she
viewer discretion.
is
Yeah, viewer
advised,
discretion, sensitive content.
But yeah, this is like super sensitive for sure. But when the baby like came out and it was in the toilet,
She did tell me that.
her mom like took a picture of it and sent it to Michelle Paramore and Virginia.
She what? She did what? And it's crazy how Jennifer wants to say that Danny is gonna go to hell for having an abortion and guilt trip Danny about not being ready to be a parent when she decides to have kids and then raise them in the worst horrific way possible and just mentally torture them. And I think it's worth mentioning how Danny's brother is not exploited in the same way at all. And in fact, Jennifer used Danny's money to buy him a new car because why not? And you're probably wondering, how does Mikey know all those details if they broke up? Don't shoot me, I'm just the messenger. They got back together again.
And how tired we are. Imagine how tired we are of it.
After it became obvious that Mikey and Danny were back together again in an illegal relationship, Katie, Mikey's mom, goes to Instagram to make a statement saying that she did not support anything dangerous, illegal, unhealthy, or toxic and hashtagged it, "Stay away from our family." Mikey makes a statement
saying social media is just very toxic and just causes unnecessary drama. With that being said, I want my relationship to be all social media. I want to focus on showing the girl I love just that.
So it's the people outraged by this illegal relationship that are the issue, causing unnecessary drama because we're not okay with you dating a 14-year-old. But of course the relationship didn't last because who can stand to have to be around Jen? They did end up running away again, and it was just the same cycle over and over again.
A lot happier since I left, and which is like, I hate saying it like that because it makes me look like an asshole, but
I don't think so.
Crazy things are talked about in this interview, including Mikey talking about how Jen gave him a phone. Now, most people would consider a gift just being nice, doing something out of the kindness of their heart. But no, Jen had ulterior motives where she was using 360 Life, I believe it's called, to track Mikey, where he was and who he was communicating with. Because Jen wanted to make sure that he wasn't communicating with his parents. Sounds crazy. Jen was insistent on keeping Mikey around at all costs because Danny was making the most money with him as her boyfriend. Another crazy claim revealed in this interview was that Jennifer was allegedly putting her hands on Danielle, and oddly enough, Mikey is not the first person to say that they have seen and witnessed this.
And
well, basically what happened was Danny got her ass beat by her mom, and I stepped in and pushed Jen because what I was witnessing was abuse.
I had to stop Jen before too. I mean, with Carlos, like she would take Danny's phone and like threaten to throw it and break it and all these things if Danny didn't post or.
I've seen this woman slam her daughter's head, and I've said this before. I've seen this woman slam her daughter's head against the wall because Danielle was choosing not to do these musicals. Danielle would fight back, and her mom would be like, all right, we have to buy these outfits. We have to do this. We have to put makeup. We changed your hair.
Did you know? If you were asking me, in my opinion, if I really thought that Jennifer put her hands on Danielle, and I would say it's not that unbelievable. Jennifer is so controlling that it controls her. And a lot of controlling people will resort to violence to get their way.
Day one, you weren't a great parent. Way before social media. Her daughter was knocking on my door at 11:30 at night at 9 years old, 10 years old, because her mom kicked her out. And that was because of not doing a Musical.ly.
Quite a few of these abusive things that Jennifer has done Danny, however, has claimed that her father has put her through similar things. In a now deleted video, Danny talks about how traumatizing and stresses the severity of what it was like living with her father. She claims that Dustin was a raging, violent alcoholic that would scream and fight with Jennifer. He would go ballistic without alcohol or marijuana, threatening to end his own life in front of Danny. Danny recalls a story where he went into her room and smashed her TV along with all the trophies she won from pageants. She claims that he could never keep a job, which is interesting because they did live in a 3-bedroom apartment. And according to Dustin, Jennifer did not want to leave the house because she wanted to live there for free, even when he was moved on and dating other women. Which then does seem like the freeloading type, just saying. She also just says that her dad just wants fame and followers for exposing his own daughter, which kind of sounds like this is something Jennifer fed to Danny. Because Jennifer, that's exactly what you do. Your Instagram bio is literally says Danielle Cohn's mom. And all these YouTube videos with her reacting to her in a swimsuit. Like, girl, get out of here.
There, it was a horrible situation. Anybody living with you for 10 years, Jen, would lose their mind.
This is so funny because I completely believe him. I completely believe that it's miserable living with Jen. And everyone has said the same thing about her. He continues to defend himself by saying that he made a lot of mistakes in his past, that he was young. I guess he was like in his 20s when Danny was born. And he admits that he had a lot to figure out and was in really distressing situations. He didn't agree with Danny being in pageants, and he felt like he had no control over his family or just being a parent in general. He says he did not kick Danny out. He mainly kicked Jennifer out. He also points out the fact that she's responding to a video where her dad exposes her real age and birth certificate, yet she doesn't respond to those allegations at all. Instead, the whole response is her villainizing her father. He also got really mad that Danielle was also villainizing marijuana, and he took a pretty strong stance in defending medical cannabis. Apparently, ever since high school, he was actually suffering from a condition where he had nerve damage, and medicating with cannabis was the only relief he ever had. You would think a better solution for Danny would be to hire a professional manager other than her mother, and that has not seemed to be the case. Danny has hired a few different managers, and she claims that all of them have stolen from her. And mysteriously, Jennifer always managed to wedge herself in between Danny and her professional relationships. Now, I kind of wonder if Jennifer might have been pocketing a lot of that money and then telling Danny that the managers were stealing it just to come in between them. A lot of it didn't make any sense, and I believe that Jennifer would sabotage Danny like that. One of Danny's ex-managers came out and said that Jennifer doesn't read contracts or documents. She sees what the payout will be and she will just sign away, not even knowing what she's agreeing to, and then wondering why financial compensation isn't adding up. I don't know. It's very strange. One of Danny's ex-managers is a man that goes by Michael Weist, and he's basically the one who helped Tana run the failed convention TanaCon, where they scammed a bunch of people and took their money. And why Danny would work with this person is kind of unbelievable and makes absolutely no sense. It's absolutely ridiculous. And of course, they had a falling out. Danny claims that he stole from her, tried to steal her IP address, was trying to steal her YouTube channel, just all these accusations, and they were fighting over a boy too. And there were a lot of claims back and forth, and Mikey made it his mission to make them look as bad as possible.
Taking advantage of her. Danielle had told me at one point she had $300,000 in her bank account, and then a couple months later had less than $10,000, which is concerning for Danielle.
It's honestly crazy how many people talk about how uncomfortable it is to be around Jennifer, and how abusive she is, and how often Danny and Jennifer are fighting. Jennifer always sounds like the main cause of concern, obviously.
Jen saying things like, you should wear this bikini pic, or you should post this ass pic, or you should do this, essentially pimping out her daughter, and it made me feel very uncomfortable.
And honestly, what did he expect? All he would need to do is take one look at her Instagram, and you would see that's exactly what has been going on this whole time. So you acting shocked and surprised to be seeing it in person is kind of crazy. And Jennifer has the stupidest excuse for why she lets her daughter post bikini pics online. And you could tell she really strained with her last 3 brain cells to come up with this excuse. Her excuse is kids wear swimsuits at the pool, at the beach, so it doesn't matter if she posts pictures in her swimsuit online. It doesn't matter if there's pedos online, because there's also pedos at the pool and at the beach and in public. Girl, what?
You have to remember that as soon as, even if you go out in public, people are still going to be like that.
There's pedophiles that live there's pedophiles that live next door to people. There's pedophiles that live anywhere. Like, you could go to the beach, you could go to the water park, and there's going to be a person who thinks like that. You know, that's watching people.
Look,
so how is it any different from a kid wearing a bikini online to a kid wearing a bikini at the water park? You just have to
scary.
It is, but you have to be safe with your children out in public. If she's at the house and she wants to wear a bikini in her backyard and take a picture, she's at the house. There's nobody here. And she might post it to the internet, but those men can't be next to her. They can't touch her. They can't see her. You know?
I'm a bus. I'm getting my nut to you, LOL.
She really acts like someone wearing a bikini at the pool or the beach. The appropriate attire for that occasion is the same thing as her daughter putting on a bathing suit to wear the least amount of clothes as possible to go stand in her backyard and take a picture for Instagram, where you're getting paid so much money because there's creeps who like this. Like, why would you want strange men online objectifying your daughter? Why would you want to contribute to that mental illness of sick people who are looking at her pictures for the wrong reason?
They say it doesn't exist, but we don't know it does.
I would love to see you on OnlyFans or a fan girl posting sexy pictures in lingerie or showy underwear. It's literally gross. It makes me uncomfortable.
And if you don't think that Danny was being extorted, online trafficked almost, by her own mother, exploited because she was a child, showing herself online, her body. If you don't think that she had an entire career off doing that, this proves it, because as soon as Danny actually turned 18, like her actual real age, 18 years old, a legal adult, her viewership, her engagement, it's like night and day. Her views dropped, her engagement dropped, and I can guarantee you she's not making as much money as she did as a minor posting that content online. Jennifer has to be either mentally delayed or really just hates her daughter and could care less about her. Look at this YouTube video where Jennifer is rating Danny's ex-boyfriends, and look what she has to say about Ethan. Yeah, you remember Ethan Fair, the one who manipulated her into doing things that caused her to fall pregnant and then ghosted her when she told him that her pregnancy test was positive?
Ethan.
Why do you rate him?
Alright, I personally had nothing against Ethan. I liked him until some things were brought up on social media, which none of their business should have ever been on social media. It should have never been posted. It was between them. I loved his mom. All that crap happened because of some lady that wanted to do that. But Ethan is a good kid. He's a hard worker. He wants to be, you know, in this music industry, and I hope that one day he does. However, them together, I'm gonna say I don't like what happened. So I would say a 7. But it's a hard topic. But Ethan and his family are good people too, and that's all I'm gonna say. Like, so I mean, he's, you know, it's sad what he had to go through, and it's sad what you had to go through, and my heart goes out to him on certain things on social media, what people have put him through. But other than that, like, it is what it is.
Really a 7 out of 10? This is so weird. Like, her mom is sitting there rating and going into intimate detail about 12 of Danny's different boyfriends, rating them 1 through 10. And a lot of these relationships had huge age gaps. I think one of Danny's first relationships, she was 11 and her boyfriend was like 16. I can stand here all day and go on and on and on about the terrible things Jennifer has done. From the videos, to the pictures, to the boyfriends, to stealing Danny's money. It would take less time to just stand here and tell you the things she's done right as a mother. But to wrap things up, Danny holds a soft spot in my heart. Despite all the abuse and her morally bankrupt mother using her own daughter as a cash meal, Danny still manages to have a positive attitude, and she genuinely seems like a sweet girl that's too naive for her own good. I think she was robbed of an education and life experiences as a kid. Her mother has invasively suffocated her daughter's dignity, privacy, and girlhood. Whether Danny will ever come to terms with her mother's abuse, nobody should be holding their breath. What's even crazier to think about is how, if you were to put a child in the position to be internet famous, make a few million, help their struggling single mother be able to buy all the things they want, including vacations and cars, and all they had to do was post their body on the internet. It was not only Jennifer who put her daughter in this position, but also the social media platforms sponsoring this, the algorithmic world of social media and the interwebs, the brands sponsoring this nonsense. And just for this content to exist and for this child to be able to have a career in this way shows a darker and more sinister underlining phenomenon.